Hello everybody, Francesco here with a new video for Like Poker. Today I'm going to play with the GTO Wizard trainer and I'm going to play some single raise spot in position button versus big blind. Okay, in the first hand we have this board which is not that great for us in general. Let me hide first of all the help, which we can keep the ranges if you want, but I'm going to hide the suggestions for what to do. Okay, so this board is not that bad for the big blind. He certainly has 2x, 3x, he has many pairs here, and the board is low, so we'll also have many overcards, and we have air, so I think here we should just check, and probably are doing it with the most of our range. We check and it was correct, but let me play the full hand because I was just playing the single spot, so I'm going to play the full hand from now on. I think it's more interesting if you play flop, turn and river than just flop. So here the situation is a bit different. This board is much better for us than the one before, and I think we are betting with most of our range. We can probably simplify and bet range. I'm going to go for the small sizing as well, and of course I'm betting ace-10 off as well. We bet and he calls. The turn is the 8. On the 8 of diamonds we are not betting any two cards. I think we should be selective with our bets, and I would say we should definitely keep firing if our hand improved. We should definitely be betting if we had value, but with a hand like this one, which is just ace high, a decent ace high, which didn't improve much in equity, I think this is a perfect hand to check back. Also because if we bet here, we should bet pretty big, and I don't think we want to bet big with this hand. So I'm just going to check back, and the river is the queen. Villain checks, and once again, you know, we have, I think, better hands to bluff than this one. Ace-10 will win a certain amount of times showdown, and therefore I think since we don't want to bluff too much versus a solver, I think this goes directly in our check back range. We could bet if we had less showdown value, if we check back some combos of straight draw, maybe if we check back some combo of 9-10 or so on, if we do that, or if we have a weaker air, like, I don't know, some 5 high things or so on, I think we definitely want to bluff those, but I don't think we're bluffing ace-10, so I'm just gonna check, and we did the best move. You can see here on the left the accuracy, so we know that that hand was played pretty well. Another interesting board this time, we have a mid pair and a better straight draw. This board is probably not the best in general for us in this situation, and I think we should be kind of selective with our strategy. A hand like this, I think, is going to be mixed time to time. I think on this board we might also want to bet not too big, but I might be wrong. I would definitely mix this hand. I would mix check and bet. As we see, the randomizer says 98, which means we are going to bet typically, and I think I'm going to bet with the small sizing here, which was correct. Not his favorite in general, but it was definitely fine. Villain checks on the turn. On the turn we have also an open-ended, but we have some showdown value with our 6, and I think this hand is pretty fine to check back. It's probably mixed time to time, but I think that we should check more often than not when you also have a pair with our draw. So here I will go for the check. We also have a 20 on the randomizer. Maybe if I had an 80, I would still bet sometimes, but I'm just going for the check. Check was the favorite line for the solver. The river is the queen of spades. He checks. I don't think we need to bluff this one. I wouldn't be completely shocked if the solver sometimes does bluff, because, you know, we don't have anyway much, but I think with our showdown value it's perfectly fine if we just let it go and check back. Yeah. To see back the hand, we can see here also which were our other options. We can see that on the flop The check was the best line more often than not, and we bet only because we had a high number on the randomizer. We can see on the turn it was definitely a check, it was never bet in this hand, so our initial assumption was fine. And on the river queen we are just checking, so yeah, not betting here. All in all, good results. But let's move on for another hand. Okay, so king 4 suited. Here we have a board which I don't think we're going to bet range for the solver. I think here we are sometimes betting on the bigger side, sometimes checking. I think the king 4 suited is a hand we are going to mix. Given we have a 7 on the randomizer, I am going to check this, but I wouldn't be shocked if also betting big would be a good option. I check and villain checks also on the turn. On the turn, you know, again, we're playing with a solver, so we should be aware that him checking twice doesn't mean he is weak, so we shouldn't versus a solver just start firing any two cards, turn and river. And with this in mind, I think that king high with basically no equity to improve is just another check back. If he has nothing, we have chances to win at riv and the showdown. If he has something, he's not gonna fold, and we don't have many chances to improve our hand. So all in all, I think it's just going to be another check. We check, the solver like this line, the river is the king, and villain bets 4. That's interesting. I think we should call at this point. We are probably close to the top of our range because I think queen jack, we have a small portion of them, not many, we check twice, and also the same goes for aces. So I would say a pair of kings is definitely on the higher part of our range, and I don't think we can fold even if we have a poor kicker. So I'm going to call, and it was for the solver the best line. You can see again on the left, if it tells that it's the best move or correct, it means our line was fine, and so far we did pretty well. So this pot instead we have 8-9 off. This board hits, and I would say with our mid-value hand we could do both ways. Given that the randomizer gave us a very high number, I think I'm going to bet. Our options here are small or big. I'm going for the small bet with this, and let's see if solver agrees with us. Okay, it gives us the correct move, even it wasn't his favorite. We'll see what was that. The turn is 3. After we bet the flop, I don't think we're betting the turn. Again, on the turn we like to be very polarized in general, and I think we have better hands than this to bet for value, and it just worked well as a check. I think this kind of hand, it's not that different from the 6-7 hand before, in which on the turn it was one of our more obvious checks back, and I think nothing changes here. Also on the 3, when we bet, we are typically going to bet pretty big. I think we're going to overbet, and I don't think I want to bet with I want to overbet with 8-9, so I'm just gonna check. It was correct. Let's see also, we'll see what the solver will do, because he had a better option, but he doesn't mind what we did. And here's where things get tricky, because villain checks again. Are we going to bet for value in position with our 8-9, even if there is 4 cards on a straight there, or are we going to check? I think it's pretty close. I would probably go for the check, but to be honest, it's not a spot I studied that much when the 4 straight draw hits and we have a 2-pair in a spot like this, in a single raise spot. But yeah, I think we should just check. It feels like it's a bit too thin. Maybe out of position we'd bet a bit more, because typically out of position we tend to bet a bit thinner for value, but I think in position we can just check. No, it was a bet in there, you see? That's the kind of mistake we can do are those. So yeah, here it was a bet with a medium size bet, which, I mean, it's fine. As I said, it's something which can happen. Let's see also the other line that the line that he preferred. On the flop, he preferred the checked slightly, but yeah, we said it could be both check or bet. And on the turn, he preferred to No, it was fine. I don't know why in the turn he gave me the not more frequent line. Well, yeah, in EV checking is slightly better, but whatever. I think it was all in all fine until the river. Yeah, I missed that. Too bad. Let's move on. Queen 3. We have villain donk betting here. I don't think we're doing much here. Oh wait, I missed I have a pair. I think I have to call with this small size with one pair. Wouldn't be shocked if it's already a fold, but I think optimally speaking, once we should call to a small size. But let's see. Yeah, he liked it. On the turn he checked, and I don't see many reasons to bet here. I think we're not achieving too much, because if he has any kind of equity versus our queen 3, it's not gonna fold, and our hand is pretty weak. So I'm just gonna check, and it was a good move. The river is the ace, villain bet. I'm not gonna call. We don't have any blocker, any decent blocker at least, so I'm just gonna fold it. Anything. I think it's gonna be the best line versus a size which is not that small. Yeah, it was. Okay, let's go move on with the queen 6. We have the big blind who checks. Are we gonna bet? Are we gonna check? I think is a hand we can mix. On this board we like to bet big or check usually. Actually, with the dry board we might probably also bet sometimes small, and I would say that this hand will be a mix, and we have a 63 here, so I am going to bet. I'll try to go for the big size, which was his, he liked it, I mean, and he folded, so that's fine. Let's see the flop strategy here, which I think it might be a bit interesting. And yeah, you see, he does he does some checks, he does some small bet, he does some big bet. Let's see also the spot itself. I think it might be quite interesting all in all. So we study it. Let's see this flop strategy, which sometimes is tricky on this board, depends. Yeah, as you see, we have a polarized strategy. We like both sizing. We like to bet very big or to bet small. And yeah, when I bet big, I don't know why I didn't think about the overbet, because it was obvious overbet or bet small. But yeah, as you see, this happens a lot. Keep in mind that when the board is like this, in these situations, bottom versus big blind, and there is some like ace plus Broadway plus small card, there is a polarized strategy usually, and there are also many huge bets. If there is a flush draw, there are usually not that many small bets, but mainly just overbet or check. As you see, when there is a rainbow board, we also have the 1/3 bet, and something you can do if you want, of course, is to use a two-side strategy and try to balance it out. It's not as difficult as it looks like. Maybe I will speak about this in another video, because it's not that difficult, but it definitely requires one video to explain that concept. But yeah, you know, sometimes there are a few situations in which we might want to use a two-side strategy, and it is one of those. If you put a flush draw here, I think it's just going to be one sizing and pretty big sizing. No, actually, yeah, it's still using that. As you see, it's using it less, but you know, the big size becomes more dominant in a certain way if you have to choose one. It's less evident that we have two sizing which are both very good. Here, you know, there is one which is definitely the favorite one, and it's the overbet as expected. But yeah, keep in mind this. Let's play a couple of more hands, and then let's try to play a couple of hands. I think are going to be fine. Big blind checks. this board hits. I don't think I want to bet any two cards, of course, and if I'm not betting any two cards, I don't think I'm betting an ace high with no equity. I'm just gonna check this. Okay, the queen hits, villain overbets. Easy choice for us, just fold. Let's move on. Queen 7, villain checks. We have a hand which is not nice in general. I think I'm going to check this more often than not. Again, it's not a board I'm going to bet any two cards, and if I'm not betting any two cards, I don't think I'm betting anyway this. Might be closer, because you know, queen high is worse than ace high, so maybe in a spot in which you want to bet polarized, maybe tempted a bit more to bet, but I think it is still too weak. Just gonna check. And the turn is the 3, he bets. Of course, we have an easy fold here, nothing to say. the last one, since the couple last we played were pretty straightforward. Queen 6-5, we open, this flop hits, villain checks. I think a hand like King 6 is going to be mixed, given this a second pair with a very good kicker. And I am going to bet this time, especially given we have a 92 on the randomizer. Regarding the sizing, I think in game I would bet probably something in between, but if I had to choose one of these two, I think I would go for the big one, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, it lighted. Okay, let's see the strategy on that board, and then we call it a day for our video. We see that, yeah, you know, he likes all kind of lines. He likes to check, he likes to bet small, he likes to bet big. There is no line we should completely avoid. And if we go and give a look at the strategy on this kind of board, it's going to be clear that, you know, it's probably not going to be a bet range. It's going to be something mixed. And yeah, as you see, we have multiple sizing which can be used, technically speaking. If you had to pick one, of course, try to go for the most used one. So here, if I had to pick one, I would go for the small. If I had to pick only among those sizings, but you know, in a spot like this where you see that both the 27 and the 73% are used almost in equal ways, or at least they're used a lot, it's usually a good idea to pick one size in the middle. For example, here to bet like 50%, and that's going to be a good sizing in my opinion to pick as one size, and it was the one I wanted to use anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. If you have any question, please write in the comments. Keep in mind that with our affiliate link that you can find in the description, you have a 10% discount on the GTO Wizard subscriptions. But keep in mind also that you can register anyway from that link, and there are many functions of the softwares which are free. And yeah, I mean, let me know your feedback, and thanks for watching. See you next time.